Hello， 大家好，我们是
海风聊天吧。
有海风的日子，日日是好日，天天是好天。
OK，so 欢迎大家来收听这个海风聊天吧。OK， 然后这一集将以英文录制。OK， 然后这一集我们是请了这个我在做兵的时候认识的一个朋友，他叫成远，我不懂哪一个成哪一个远啊，我知道他叫Chengyuan。OK， 所以can we first invite Chengyuan to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi everyone, I'm Cheng Yuan. So I run an accounting firm of about 20 people. And previously I used to spend about 9 years with the Big Four doing audits of mostly banks and other FIs.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know Big Four, is which Big Four? I only know got EY.
EY.
Okay.
They are about the same like EY, PwC,
PwC, correct.
KP. Yeah. So I was from the yellow one, the EY.
Yeah. So because every time we hear accountants or we hear auditors all come out from uni all say sexy term, we go Big Four work. Yeah.
Sexy, I don't really know, man. I don't know about that, but yeah. I was from the bigger firm.
I understand. Because I remember when we were the first few years of our reservice, right? I only remember every time after meetings, right? I see you in the room like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. taking the laptop out, open and clear work. Yeah, because our reservice is normally in January. So is it really like in the Big Four, life is more stressful or like you really have to clear work during that period of time?
I would say in the Big Four, life is really stressful. I mean, I quite like my job then, to be honest, but every year in the peak period, I would see at least one person that would like tear or cry.
Wow,
like,
stress, huh?
Yeah. During the peak period, it's really quite bad. And always just like you said, it happens that my reservist, it's always during that few months. So when I do audits of banks, mostly they are December year-end clients. And then they need to report to the MAS within 3 months.
Okay.
So you cannot miss that. You miss that, you die.
Okay.
Oh my
right.
God.
So we have to basically drop everything and make sure that the work is done. So when I go to the reservists, everyone goes and like relax. And I also want to relax with you. Iron the bed sheet. I would love to do that as well. But if I don't follow up on the work, by the time I go back there, the work will still be there. No one will be there to pick it up for me. So
I see.
Yeah.
So is the culture in Big Four a bit like more brutal? Like really is deadline driven, like how to say like more corporate, more like 没有人情味这样?
I think at least at my firm, my ex-firm, I would say the 人情味 is there lah.
Okay.
At least, but it's a big firm, so you can't really say that for everywhere. I mean, the department, my bosses were all good.
Okay.
So I think that you had that, but it's still very, very fast-paced.
Okay. I think that maybe if you're not in this industry now, you will have a different answer. But we shall leave it at that.
Yeah, kind of true maybe.
Okay, so before we go into your current firm that you're running, I think I would just like to ask a very fun and simple question, which is I of course have some stereotypes or some conceptions I have of like accountants and auditors lah. But what do you think are some of the common misconceptions people have about accountants or auditors in general?
铁饭碗.
铁饭碗. I hope that's not a misconception. There's quite a few, but I think if you really want me to pinpoint to ones that I think a lot of people still think that being an accountant is really just about like looking at your the data you have, the invoices, and just like keying in. Like this expense comes in, you just key in this debit, credit, all that. Like I guess those jobs still do exist, but if you were to be a professional accountant in a bigger firm, like as you go on the ranks and you go up and up, like you would tend to do more and more things. And I think that data entry part would be just a small part, or if not your job anymore. Like I don't know if you've watched this documentary before. Like, I love this one. Like on it's called Jiro Drinks on Sushi. No. So this follows like basically like the most famous sushi restaurant in Japan. It's the one that Abe brought Obama there for dinner before. Okay. So like it's really very good, and the owner there is like known to be this very strict person. And then they show us a lot of things, and one of them that really left a deep mark on me was like they showed how the apprentice went there. And you would think that you go to a sushi restaurant to learn to work there, you would be learning how to make sushi. But basically for the first 1 or 2 years, right, you can only make egg. Right? Oh. Like really, you can only make the egg only. Oh. And until they say pass, and say cannot, you cannot touch fish.
Okay.
Okay. So I think similarly, it's like in accounting, like you have a lot of like basic things to do, but it's like when you get better and better at those things, I think a lot more other things will be opened up for you to do.
is this the one that it's a very small store in some subway station?
Yes,
Then
correct.
I think the elder son worked for him. Then he very hard for him to take over the father. Then the second son go open restaurant, like open a lot of branches, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense now. Yeah, the father is very old but very strict one. Then the elder son like 有点无奈 he say like, actually 我已经帮我爸爸做了20年了 yeah. 我还是这样子，是他的学徒这样子。
Exactly.
他二儿子来拿那个 technique 拿去 sexify 那个整个 sushi， then 做了很多 branch 也是很 successful。
对，
把大儿子要跟爸爸了，很惨。
对他们讲说 in Japan the elder son 一定要
对
take over
继承家业
要继承家业 exactly， 所以还要这边慢慢的等。
哈 ，Oh my god， 好惨哦！
I think 更他惨的是，当过后如果他 in the end 他继承那个家业的时候，不管他做的多么好，我觉得
对 forever in the shadow 啦。
Correct, customer think that
yeah.
like 这个东西不是那个 like the old man 做的东西，it probably won't be as good。
Yeah.
所以他是讲说 when that day comes it'll be quite bad 啦。
Yeah.
Okay, that's so sad. Is that your story now?
I hope it's different.
Okay, yeah, because I know that you have taken over the company, right? From your uncle.
Technically it was from my father. So basically it's like my uncle created this firm. Then he passed away some years ago. Then on his deathbed, he did tell my father that he really wanted to keep this business within the family. Then my father used to be an auditor. He started out doing that. Then he decided to just take over and run it like a CCA for a while lah. Part-time job, yeah, correct. So yeah, then so I took over from him. Yeah.
But
so
what
that's
made you want to take over? Because from normal point of view, it's like, I don't want to take over. Later I kena like all the restriction. No, you cannot do that. This is a family business. It's a lot of stress, you know. Like what if I fail?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this thing went through my mind for many, many years. Like, in fact, I would say, like after I started, like I had some time between my uni and my first job. Then I also went to work there, and then like I was thinking like small firm. I see already. I don't really think that I want to go back there and take over back then, right? And as much as my previous job in EY was a lot of stress, but I still generally quite liked the environment there because I think that the people there were nice and the work was challenging. But at some point, I just thought that like maybe why not, right? I mean, I just try and maybe I just fail, but I can just give it a shot. And I think the other part of the question was a bit of like a financial one because I think for professional firms, not just in accounting, and maybe I guess for law and all that, the value of the firm really lies with the partner. Right. Already, like before my uncle passed away, he was really like in the more like slowing down mode. And after he passed away, already the context, they know him, and now he's not there anymore. Now it's my father and someone else. And if they were to sell it to someone else, a totally third party, right? Then a lot of the clients would probably not want to follow them. Which is why, like, if you want to sell an audit firm, the price you get is really like low. So I thought that like, if the one offers that he was getting, then why not just give it a shot lah? But it did take me a long time to consider and then finally take the plunge.
I think this is especially true because your main clients are Japanese, right? They really work on 那种 how to say, you have to be 感情 you have to work long term with them, then very hard for them to trust a new person to work with lah.
Yeah, exactly. Even now, my uncle is already gone for about 10 years already. Yeah. I still meet clients say that, oh, your uncle, like, you know, when we first came here, 35 years ago, your uncle's the one that brought me, and I knew nobody here, then your uncle bring me out to go drinking, all that, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, so there are these clients that, like, really, they still appreciate us so much. Yeah, there was this client that's been here for, like, 30 plus years, and just had their 35th anniversary of some sorts, and they also invited us to the dinner and all that, and then, yeah, so the CEO was there telling me how, when he first came, like, my uncle was the one. So because like we are the family and he's still keen to continue on with us. But if we sell it to a totally like unrelated third party, it might be different.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe to give our listeners a bit of context, I think I can relate a bit to this is because my dad used to work for Japanese also.
Oh, okay.
Then after he was retrenched, he went to work for a Korean company. So I think both these companies, right, he formed very long relationships with the people that he worked with. I think 10 plus years, and then even though let's say he's not working with them anymore, they were like, let's say they drop by Singapore, they'll make an effort to visit him, all this kind of thing. Yeah. So that's just when I understand that, 原来 讲新加坡人做生意跟这种日本人跟韩国人稍微有点不一样。Yeah, we tend to like, people move on, okay lah, understand lah, move on already, right? Yeah, then we tend to work with the company more than we work with the people that actually move in and out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a very different work experience lah.
Yeah. So I think all the more like my uncle had set up this thing really, there was the base there. Then I felt there was a bit of a waste if I just let it go without trying. And I think even if I did fail, if I want to go back to my old job, they probably would consider me. Yeah, and I say sorry. Now can you think it back? Maybe you can still go back. So I just thought, just try lor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then just to give our listeners a bit of context, like what do you do? What do your firm do?
What's the
Like
my firm do?
Generally, what are the services?
So we are an accounting firm, and I think the bulk of the main service we do will be audit. Right, and of course, other than that, the usual stuff like accounting, we do tax, and also the corporate secretary work. And also sometimes we also do the other stuff like advisory. Now we have a client that is coming to Singapore to buy some business.
Okay.
Then so before they do that, they wanted to get us to make sure that everything is in order. So that will be a duty project. So also anything that's more ad hoc, as long as we think that we can do, we also do that.
Including 帮我们做 audit 是吗？
是的。
Yeah, okay. I think that's interesting. I think one part that I didn't expected was like just now you say one like other companies want to come Singapore to let's say invest or want to open company or let's say buy a new company, right? I think your company also provide the kind of services like they will look through all the records and to help them put it in order, right? So that if they put up the purchase request lah per se, then everything is in order lah. I see. Okay. So all these companies that come Singapore buy are they primarily also Korean and Japanese companies in your case?
I mean, we can service any kind of clients, right? Just that my uncle started this business some years ago, and then halfway through he had a Japanese that joined him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that's the reason why like we have a lot of Japanese clients, and other Japanese accounting firms also know us, right? So a lot of the new clients that we still get, or the new services, tend to be more from that space lah.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So since because I remember you took over this business, I think about 3-4 years ago, or slightly more.
2 or 3 lah, right?
Yeah. Okay. Then I remember because I knew you even before that. I don't remember you speaking Japanese. Does it mean that you have to pick up Japanese also?
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm learning for about since I joined, so about 2.5 years now, and I should be better than how good I am now, which is pretty bad. But really, just I think I'm not giving it enough time.
Okay.
I can speak a few things here and there. I know enough that if my client's talking bad about me, I can understand that. But to really hold a proper meeting in Japanese, like accounting, all that, I think I'm still like very, very far away.
Okay, then how about we give you a challenge? You introduce yourself in Japanese. I won't know whether it's correct. But later, we see our.
Never mind, our listeners, can you please?
皆さんこんにちは。希望と申します。KKChua に関西を担当します。
OK， 我只听得懂 KKChua 啦。
Something like that, just like hello, then you can call me so and so.
Okay.
I do audit there.
I see.
I think it's correct. I think. I need to go and check.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I think just now Chenyi asked you about why you decided to take the big leap. I think what I want to ask is, what are some of the differences between working for a big four and like now running your own accounting firm?
I guess I get asked this a lot of times, and a lot comes from my ex-colleagues there. They're always curious. Hey, so you left us already, now you're at your own place.
Better?
Yeah, exactly. Are you better? No, or you want to come back and join us? There are so many things that are different, right? But I think the main thing is something that probably you would relate a bit. Is like it's more like being an employee versus like running your own thing.
Okay,
right?
Yes.
So like just now I was saying that in my previous firm it was a very high stress and very fast paced environment. So the expectation is that once you go over to something smaller, right, not dealing with the banks and MAS, it will be a bit more chill. And I would say yes, that is true. And when I first joined there, I was like, wow, everything like so slow. Every day I look at my email, only got like 5 come in. No, last time every day 100. So it's very different, right? But as I really took over more and more, then you realize that really, like, I miss being an employee.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
You do, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yes,
feeling like,
yes.
I go and tell my boss, like, wow, I know last time I worked for you, like, no matter how big the issue is, you know, my bosses are like the partners of the firm.
Yeah.
There'll always be a bigger partner on top.
Yeah, give advice or give solution.
Exactly. Yeah. So for better or for worse, you always have someone there. And like when things go wrong, there's always someone they can fall back on. Right? So at this place, like I have basically no one.
Yeah.
Right. So and then like a lot of times there are a lot of issues that come out, you know, and there's just that firm of 20 of us. Then I ask people and check and all that. So there's a lot more stress. And other than just the technical stuff, a lot more operational, like things like, you know, is there enough cash to pay my staff next month? You cannot, don't pay, right? Don't pay already next month, everybody quit on me already.
Yeah.
Right? A lot more things and everything just falls onto your plate. Right? So I think that's the main difference. But of course, it's a double-edged sword. So when you have that kind of responsibility and that kind of like control over everything, you also can see like how you can change the firm and make it move in a better direction. Like in a big firm, whatever you do, you don't like nothing changes at all, right? But here you really have the power to change it. So good and bad, good and bad.
What? Okay, so then what is the one thing you feel that ever since you joined the company, what is the one change that you think that I implemented then it sort of benefited the company?
One change, I think I'm trying to do a lot of small things and maybe not all are doing so well, but I think that I'm trying to reach out to my staff more, talking to them more, listening to them a little bit more, and then trying to guide them. Like I think that previously in my firm, it was like everybody was just there quietly doing the stuff, and the practice was more like they just like to stay in the office. Right? They just like to stay in the office, and like ultimately, although we are accountants, especially for the audit part, we are actually in a way like client serving. You know, we're client facing people. If you just stay in the office with people, the clients don't know you, right? Then it gets very hard to do things. So I think that our work became unnecessarily difficult. Right, and the clients won't value you as well because just going off topic a little bit, a lot of my competitors, including even now the Big Four, because it's very hard to find accountants to do audit, etc. these days, right? Most of the work is done offshore. So they can take in the work, maybe the manager is here, but then after a lot of it is done in Malaysia, Philippines and all that. So I'm thinking that like if you're in the office every day and like that you're no different from like other firms that send the work to Malaysia, right?
Yeah.
So you should be able to give a better service. So I think that I've been trying to push that, and I feel that I hope my clients are a little bit happier with the service now. I hope.
You are dealing with a person and not a machine
Yes,
that answers your email.
Exactly.
Then the machine is like, okay, you need to give me document A to Z by this date.
Yes.
Yeah.
The human touch, the 人情味, I guess. And I think like it's not so direct, but I hope that my staff do see that in the longer term, they also get affected positively because if the clients like have the rapport with you, right, then they find it easier to ask things from you. Then it's easier for you to talk to them about issues. And it just gets on more smoothly versus like email trail to and fro like 100 times. Yeah.
This one I can speak from my experience because before I engage you, I think I've spoken to a few accounting firms. 很多都是 like just 讲你 just send the document 来 then they just audit and then they give you the report. Right? Whereas I think with you and your staff, right, I really do more negotiation front and back. Then we try to work out like, why is this like that? Try to rationalize and then does this make sense or not? Then so that when I hand in my report also, I have a better sense of like why is it like that? I can answer to the 阿公 giving me the money also. Yeah. So I think this is my first time like dealing with an accountant or accounting agency that I will say 有一点点人情味啦. I can still discuss, you know, call and say, 这个东西可以这样写吗？这样子So I do appreciate that. And then, 看有没有 third project 啊，给你 audit.
加油
applying. Okay. Then the next part of the interview is actually about, I think more about the AI. I think you've spoken some about this. Okay, so I'll let Jingyi start the ball rolling on this.
Yeah, because you also said there's quite a fundamental part is data entry. So for us, right, our first impression, accounting, there are some things that are like dead. You just key data and even like analyzing, right? There's a certain standard things that you have to do lah. So all this can it be taken over by AI? Then as auditor, we just like ask the client, how are you feeling?
I hope it becomes like that at some point. I hope.
Is this stressing you out?
Yeah, but I think we are not really there yet. So like when I first joined my current firm, there was also like about 2.5 years back, and I was quite free then. So I just like to go around, join some networking events, join some talks here and there. And that was around the time when I think ChatGPT was first released.
Yep.
And everyone's like, wow, this thing is like so amazing. Even I was like, wow, this thing can even write songs and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. So then like AI was all the rage. And then I remember I was at this event, and then this guy from I forgot where, but then he basically was an expert on the AI space lah. Then he was giving a talk, and then I was like, wow, AI will be even so much better than what we see now with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Then the next slide was the top industries that will be disrupted by AI. And top of that list will be accounting. Yeah. So basically saying that this job will be gone. Right. So I think like being in the industry, I think there's a little bit more nuanced than that lah. Right. Again, firstly, I think the question is like, where do you find accounting? Like at least for my side, we do other things like audit, and I would say audit is one part where it's still very, very difficult to be changed or basically fully replaced by AI, because you still need someone to take responsibility for it, right? And this ChatGPT now basically can throw any audit questions to them. You can ask them, but they tend to hallucinate and give you a lot of wrong things. If you don't know more about it, you just take it at face value. That's actually wrong. Correct. But if you really ask them, and because we know the stuff, we check it, we know it's it's just smoking you. Like whatever you ask them, say, oh, that's great. The question is really good. And give you something, and actually not fully correct. Like it's getting better, but not there yet. I think what I would really like to see AI disrupt would be really like say the boring part, right? Because the data entry part is really, I mean, it's just not fun, no matter what. Even if that's any accountant,
it's brain numbing,
Yeah, correct. No matter how much you like love the numbers and all that, just nobody really likes doing that. And like no human will be better than a machine at that, right? So when it comes to like data entry, giving a stack of documents there to key in, to classify, and then to check, like, this is one part that I think the use case is really very strong. Like I would really love AI to come inside to fully take away this part of our jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, and we are seeing more and more tools coming up.
Oh, okay. So there are existing tools that is coming up already.
Yes. I think more and more tools, they are like the agents where the underlying brain would be like the LLMs, ChatGPT, Gemini, all that. But that you still need another layer in between. So it's like a software that they program out that makes it a lot easier for you to use. So then it's like really like focusing on like trying to classify your expenses correctly. Yeah, we're seeing some of this, and I'm trying out some of them now.
Okay. But then it still takes some work because credibility, how do you check?
Yeah, but so the ideal way, at least for my accounting department, would be like this mind-numbing part, right? Will be done by the AI, right? And then like my staff will be focusing on the higher value stuff, like to review the work, and after that to create the FS, trying to account for the more difficult things, like to consolidate different subsidiaries together, all that stuff. And then like the basic data entry, they still have to check, right? Just like in the future when AI becomes more prevalent in the audit space, they still need someone with a human name to sign off. Like, it cannot just be like signed by ChatGPT. Like, I don't think Akra will take that.
Okay.
Right? So that would be the direction where I think it's currently going.
Yeah. I think this is the same problem faced by this autonomous car thing. Yeah, because I think I read it. I think is it in the Yuan Nori book? I think it's 21 Lessons for 21st Century.
I love it.
Or something, or years, I forget. Yeah, because he said that the paradoxical problem with this autonomous car is that it's the same thing. Who takes responsibility if, let's say, one day the autonomous car 撞到人? Because at least now you can say you got driver, then you can debate that, it's pedestrian problem, it's the driver problem. Yeah, but he said next time, he say, what if the autonomous car 撞到人? They say, it's even worse. Let's say 你在路口, right? Because 你不想撞到人, you swerve and hit another person. That one is an ethical dilemma. Yeah, so I think that was one of the reasons why I think till today, very hard for autonomous car to take off grand scale lah.
Yeah, correct.
I think smaller scale, like that kind of point to point, I think still can do. But that kind of like what take over taxi still very difficult for them to do lah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the tech is actually there. But it's really just like the
ethical
part.
issues.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you swerve? Like, it's the classic one. Do you pull the trolley to save
Correct.
one or save five? What if the one person there is your mom and the other 5 people are people that you don't like? And that kind of things,
Correct.
right?
Oh my god. Okay.
So at least now, because the law is still catered towards humans, yeah. So I think this thing is still in place that we can fall back on, lah. But I think, who knows? Maybe next time, if this thing takes off big enough, then they have the maturity. I mean, the law have the maturity to build this enough to factor this in. Then we might be saying this in a different space, lah.
Yeah. Definitely, I'm trying to wait for all this to happen. But yeah, the law has to change, lah.
Yeah.
Right? As it stands, I think the law is really like not just law, but a lot of things that we have in the human world is not ready for all these things to have.
Okay, then besides like the accounting, that means the numbers part, do your firm use AI for anything else? Like email writing, which I use for?
Which I also do use already. To be honest, I think that it's really good. Sometimes I just want to write some stuff and like just the way I phrase it, a bit like not so clean.
Yeah.
And I ask them and then, whoa, actually there's a nicer way to phrase it. It's
Yeah.
a lot less words and so elegant. Even though there's a certain like AI-ish kind of cadence to it.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think that the biggest use case right now for us, right, other than just like trying to research some things or summarize stuff, is really to write in Japanese.
Oh.
Yeah, correct. So because like right now I don't have a full-time Japanese staff.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to find one. Someone just left, and then I was thinking that, what do we do in the meantime? I have someone that works with me.
Okay.
But he's not my employee per se. Right?
Okay.
So a lot of the small little stuff, I don't want to ask him. It's very hard to ask him, grab hold of him for everything, right? So then I just thought, why don't we just use ChatGPT and try? and it's amazing. It's really very amazing because like in Japanese, the formality is very different.
Okay.
Like even like me and you friends, like me and my boss, me and my boss's boss, me and my
formal
boss's
speech
boss, the
and not
formality.
so formal.
Yeah, correct. Like even like I was learning more and more, I realized that firstly in Japanese there aren't many like swear words, and I realized that the reason is because they don't need to swear at you, but just by using the wrong tone to you. That's very rude, really.
Okay.
Very rude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. So then when you write in an email, it's going to be like actually, what if you write in the wrong sense? The nuance is wrong. So it's a very tricky thing, right? And I realized because like, although I can't really speak it well, but I know enough to read and understand, right? And then it's actually very accurate. And I can tell them that I'm writing to who and then what kind of level. Can you tone it down a little bit? Can you make it more formal a little bit?
Yeah.
And I even got praises from like my clients saying, hey, wow, you are just so good at that. Like, wow, like even like you even know all this like accounting and audit terms. Like then say, but this issue is very difficult. Why don't we have a call? It's like, okay, call will be difficult.
感谢 AI 爸爸。
Yeah, so 他们真的很厉害，真的。
Okay.
I didn't realize it can be used for Japanese also.
That was not the answer I expecting, but very interesting.
Yeah, I think in our space because of this, and I guess even when I finally do manage to hire my Japanese staff in a while more, I think that this would be, then I don't have to rely on him or her to do all this like basic correspondence. Like all my staff can communicate in Japanese to my head office people, right? And so far it's been going quite well. Here and there, because some of them, they don't know any Japanese at all, there may be some issues that come up. But by and large, it's good enough. Yeah, and it will only get better from here. Yeah.
So then, how do you think that your sector, means the auditing and the accounting sector, how should they embrace this AI? Like, use for what portion do you think is the best?
I think for now, it's still mainly just like I was saying, how to reduce the data entry work. Data entry and the tracking part. So I guess for audit, it's more like when you give out the financial statements, how everything, the casting, 1 + 1 = 2, front and back, everything ties. I refer to note what, and note what has that. So all those work will be I would say that's the low-hanging fruit, right? When you can get to the next level, then I guess a lot more can be done. But by that time, I think a lot of different industries, not just ours, will all be impacted. Even look at like even in your space, look at how AI can write poetry, or they create art. And some of them are really quite amazing.
So now actually in Singapore, the last time I participated in something of this, this kind of discussion about AI and how it's impacted writing, right? Actually, interestingly, it have made physical book more precious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they say that now, if you do an e-copy, right, then it will just be part of the internet. Then AI will find a way to sub into them. Then it will become part of their system. Right?
Oh, that's true.
So writers that are established enough to have a few collections, right, and it's ebook, then you can literally go to AI and say, "Oh, can you write me a, let's say, poem or a short story in the form of, let's say, ABC, this writer," and then they can produce something shockingly similar. Yeah. So now increasingly more and more authors are saying that I want my book to be just physical book. I don't want ebook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So actually,
what a big change.
AI has made physical book more precious now, lah. Yeah. So that to me is quite interesting because I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I didn't see that coming as well. Oh, so that means that probably you see like more of like those film cameras will also be more precious also. Or that.
Could be.
It could be, right?
Yes. Yeah, especially those that are I think writers and creators that have very, very, very unique signature. I think, yeah. So if you can make it so unique that AI cannot duplicate it, then 你就是独特的咯. Yeah. I feel lah. Yeah. Interesting lah. Yeah.
But the other thing is because when AI operate by learning, right? So you need to feed it a lot of data and then you will catch like trends and learn. So for sure somebody will go and play with the system. And for auditing, I'm just going it right into say like when you need to catch like money laundering case, right? So there will be at some point in time that people can overcome this, right? Even if it learn the skill.
Maybe.
Then I can like feed some data to smoke the AI.
I mean, 所谓的行话，道高一尺。
Yeah. 魔道一丈。
我刚才讲 exactly right. Exactly. So it's like maybe someone uses AI to create. I mean, uses AI to audit the stuff. Then the criminal use AI to smoke the AI.
Yeah.
Because this is already happening. You know, in universities, right? Because of AI, then they don't want plagiarism.
Yeah.
So they already have something to check the AI.
Yes,
how much of AI use.
Yes.
But there are already people that write another AI to recheck the AIs. Sorry, the AI's AI. Yeah. So 夸张了，我觉得。
But I think that the unis doing this, like using Turnitin and all these tools to check whether the student use AI to write the essays, I think that they're going the wrong direction. Because there's always that camp that says that you need to test how the users or the students are able to write using their own abilities. But I think we're really going to a space where AI is so readily available to us at very low cost. Like the skill would be how can you blend in the use of AI and create something better.
Yes.
I mean, it's a little bit like, I mean, in the accounting space, we'll talk about this, like maybe like 20 years ago, 30 years ago in my dad's time, like they have no idea how to use any like spreadsheets at all. So they're still using like, you know, when they want to cast the financial statements, they didn't print out things and it's like very, very, very long kind. Yeah.
Shit, okay.
Yeah, they were still doing the kind of things. Right, so like imagine like that, and now we have all these things like Excel, you can pivot, you can do all these things. Like it's very different. Like you can't compete with someone on that basis anymore, right? So and going back to the AI part, like I think it's a futile effort to limit the young people's ability to use AI. Say, oh, you must write it on your own. I mean, just let them try lah. Who knows what they can create, and that's gonna be the norm, right?
Yeah. It actually is the norm.
It is the norm, right? Everyone will use it to some.
你要不要 U-turn 你的 statement？ 你这样子没有大学会请你去演讲。
I think it's okay. It's okay. I'll speak my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I think some universities are trying to embrace that to a certain extent. Because ultimately what you're trying to do is to assess how this person can think, right? The cognitive thinking, not like your ability, not so much like writing. Yeah. So I thought, oh, that's very interesting. Oh yeah, but then your financial records, all those that use hand to write, that kind, do you still keep it?
I'm lucky that my clients are mostly not on that level. Yeah, but when I first joined the firm, I mean, because it's a old school family run firm, there's still some things that are still done that. I mean, I was looking at it literally, like in audit, when we audit cash, there's one of this tab called cash book review. And when I went inside my firm, I realized that the billing literally uses cash books
Wow.
And so like my firm still used like different books back then to write down they built the who,
Oh.
they collected money or not, have then they took a ruler, strike it off, the kind of thing.
Oh my god, do you still keep that?
No, we have moved on from that already. Yeah.
Why? I very nostalgic lah. So this kind of thing I want to keep. 'Cause got that person's like handwriting.
I mean, we still keep a copy of that, but we don't use that anymore.
Next time put in museum.
If people want to come and see it.
Yeah.
So actually,
Interesting.
my last question before Jingyi asks you about the book, right, is that because I've been seeing a lot of news, I think a lot of the manpower and a lot of the lifelong learning part, right, the government is doing is a lot about upskilling, about reskilling, this kind of thing, especially for the accounting sector lah. Yeah, so I just want to check in with you, like, do you think that this is the way to go, or like, do you think that there's a different way that the accounting sector should embrace this AI thing?
I don't think we have a choice. Right, and I think that applies to any industry out there, right?
Yeah.
And like, this thing is coming, and it's only gonna get better and better.
Yeah.
Right. What you see now, I mean, like we can talk about say, oh, maybe it is not here yet. Okay. But I don't know. But recently there was this big craze about them. How GPT-4 came out with the Ghibli thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
Then it was like,
definitely.
wow, it took the whole world by like crazy. Everybody was playing with it, including I was playing with it. Right. Then like I often go to Reddit like, to read things here and there. And then the new post that was like suggested to me was the one on the graphic design.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then there everybody was like, oh man, shit.
Complaining,
Like,
yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Complaining that, oh, they lost their jobs and all that. And they literally like lost their jobs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then some of them were still saying that, oh, but then see maybe one of these images that ChatGPT created, there was like maybe one word that was wrong, one arm that was wrong or there. But that's just a small thing you can fix in Photoshop with like just like a few minutes, you know. Like, and it's only going to get better from this point on.
Yeah.
So it's really a scary thing if you don't try to learn how to use it. Like, the other thing I would say, going back to like how I think my biggest use case now is to translate my emails to Japanese, right? I think that, so from what I read, that one business is a lot more dead now would be the translation services. Like anyone can go to ChatGPT and you can get a very good translation there.
Yeah.
Right. So like why do you really need to go and spend so much money for someone to really translate everything by hand? Like, maybe this person can use the AI to do bulk translation and then after that they will just edit here and there. But for the normal kind of stuff, you won't be able to, you won't need to pay that. Yeah, exactly. So we all need to find a way to learn to upskill, I guess. Yeah.
I think this one, what Chengyuan said is true lah. I think, especially in the literary world, the same thing about translation has came up. Yeah, so at least it's not so bad in literary world because I think in literature there's more nuances with what's the tone, what's the style, this kind of thing. Yeah, so still have a bit of, how to say, a bit of Greenland there. They feel that still can 守住这样啊.
Yeah. It's
so-
not something like emotions. It's not something the machine can understand, right?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, but at the same time, actually, I got one side question. I think I might offend the whole entire finance company industry.
One of her family members working finance, so she got stereotyped.
Accountant, yeah, I got accountant stereotype.
Okay.
Accountant auditors, right? They tend, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the personality tend to be on, like, I want something safe.
Safe.
Like, I don't know if you see in your employees on a general term where, you know, I want to do this job for the rest of my life because it's safe. I don't want to push myself too hard. That's why I become an accountant. I want to do the same thing and excel in that particular field. So like when you push me to I must learn this
Interact
AI.
with customer.
Yeah, I must interact. This service, I thought auditor, I just need to email. That's all. Don't ask me because I'm an introvert. Yeah.
I think
So do you see like resistance in trying to
Push this kind of
upskill?
thing,
Yeah.
okay, different parts of the question. So I think at least the answer the last part, which is a bit easier for me because my firm is small, right? So if like EY with like maybe 3,000 people in Singapore and globally way more, like if they want to change things, it's going to be very difficult. A lot of pushback
very
here
long,
and there.
very long.
long. Then if I change this, then why you're there?
Yeah,
Then people
yeah.
say a lot. Yeah, so very different. So one good part about being a small firm is that we're agile lah, in a way. So I can change things quite easily and my staff are generally quite young. Because in this space, especially for audit, people don't stay for that long. I hope my staff stays for a while more, but but typically, because even though we are a small firm, it's still fairly tiring, like compared to a normal desk-bound 9 to 5 job. Right? So my profile of my staff is on the younger side, so they have no issues. They want to do all this. So on that front, it's okay. Your other question about the stereotypes of character, I think it's kind of true. Maybe not the safe part. I think the safe part, because last time I used to audit different companies here and there. I would say not just accountants, like basically people that like a safe job. Like they just stay there. I mean, there are really different kinds of government jobs, operations or whatever. There are so many kinds of jobs out there that fits that mold. But I think one thing I noticed about the people that do accounting, they tend to be more on the introverted side.
Yeah, very introverted.
Generally.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I've seen over the years.
Speaking from experience. No, I'm saying she's speaking from experience.
Yeah.
One of her family members is accountant.
No, yeah. Then
And hence you don't want to do that.
I am not like so in that kind of space.
Okay,
My
maybe
personality
the
cannot.
family member 70%, 80% introvert. Maybe she, I don't know, 60, 50%.
Yeah,
I
my
see.
percentage very different. Yeah,
I see.
I'm introvert, but on the other side, I cannot sit still.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stereotypes because I have done different jobs, and you know, like accountants tend to be the hardest people to persuade to do the fun things.
我们这里也有 accountant 哦，你
Yes, ask our accountant. He'll be like, then you do lah. You know all the HR activities, engage them, right? Yeah, sing karaoke also, they sit one corner. Yeah,
I think
it's
true
my
lah.
stereotype lah. Yeah.
So that time my staff was doing like a personality test around the firm. Then they realized that of my firm of 20 people, 18 of them are considered introverts.
Oh shit.
The only 2 extroverts are me and another staff. And even for me, like, for the longest time, thought that I was more introverted, depending on like where I am and all that.
But
So,
I think that's because in 我们的 NS 的 command team 太多 extrovert 了。
so I think you had to get skill of it, that one.
Yeah.
So maybe now that I'm the land of the introverts, then I'm considered like a lot more extroverted.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, there's always the scale, I guess. But
Could it be your position that's pushing you to be more
it could
extroverted?
be. It could be also. I think that like in my position, like let's say just now, like like your so and so here don't want to go and sing karaoke or whatever.
Yeah, actually, you need more people like to go out and push your film and say, "Hey, we provide this services." Right?
To sing.
你弄啊，你弄。
Yeah, lay long a bit.
But my clients, some of them, they really want me to go and sing with them.
Yeah.
Seriously, the Japanese, after drinking, some of them, they're closer to us.
Exactly.
There will be round 2.
Yeah, this is like a relationship, ma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To the Japanese lah. Yes.
yeah. There are some relationship building that needs to be done for you to keep going, right? Yeah.
I
So-
agree lah. So it really depends on the position lah. So again, like now in a way I'm also doing sales, right? So I cannot be just everything no.
Yeah.
But if you were like here, if you are the accountant of the company here, everyone's like, oh, let's go and chong. Everyone's like pressing on the accelerator. You need someone here to press brake. Right.
Yes.
So you need the mix lah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Okay, I'm done with my stereotype question. Yes. So the last one is usually we will all ask our guests because we are from Series Books, right? So we will want to ask you to recommend us a book that you probably think is the most influential or memorable that you have read.
Accounting 101 ah.
Memorable, probably no. Wow. Quite a few, but if you ask me offhand right now, it may not be the most influential book that I have or I will be reading, but I'm currently reading this book called 4,000 Weeks. 4,000 Weeks.
4,000 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
I've
So
heard
I just
about
went for a holiday last week and to Bangkok. Then there was Kino there. Then I was like, hey, there was this book there. Then it was quite cheap there. So I just picked it. I heard it was a pretty good book. Then I read it. I'm halfway through the book, and I thought it was pretty good. And the whole premise is about like how there's never going to be enough time to do things. And saying yes to everything would just mean like you're saying no to your life in a way. Yeah, exactly. Right. So like this guy used to be a productivity geek, and I think he still is. He's the kind that will write on the Sunday Times. I mean, in the UK, the columns on how to do things better. Like he went to do all those like getting things done, all that stuff. So in terms of managing his time, he's like the expert. Right. But he finds that like, wow, like the more you clear, the more comes in. Then at some point realize that okay, cannot, then like need to rethink his philosophy of life lah. And I think I'm a bit at that stage now where like because I'm trying to push things to grow, trying to change things here and there, so there's never ending things to do. Right. And so this book basically I thought it was a time management book, but it's actually more on the philosophy side. Right. So the reason why it's called 4,000 weeks is that if you live to about 80 years old, like on average, like, so you have about that number of weeks to live on Earth. And most people, when you ask them, like out of the blue, like if you live till 80 years old, or maybe like I don't know how old, just don't go and do any math. Just give me a number. How many weeks do you think you would live? And I just asked my wife that also. I asked like, maybe like 100K or something. Way off. Then I actually didn't think about that as well. But when I think about it, I see, really, 80 years old is about 4,000 weeks. And right now, I probably used up about 2,000. Okay, not that, maybe 1,008-ish. Right. So like it does put things in perspective on how finite life is and how you need to choose. And by not choosing, then you're really just sacrificing yourself, lor.
You think about it, 1,008, how many weeks we give to NS?
Too many.
Yeah. Because it shifts the perspective to like count down, right? Instead of just continue counting, which you don't know where is the end.
Correct. I'm afraid that after I finish and all that, I'll just get lapse back to the usual grind, the routine. It's like, things happen, then like you really think that our life is short, you need to cherish life, all that. But after a while, you just get back to the routine of things. So I do not know whether it would be like the most influential book that I'll read,
Yeah.
But as of now, this is the book that I'm reading, and I thought that it is up to this point fairly good.
Yeah. Well, at least you have the takeaway of how you can shift the perspective, right? Every now and then you get reminded of this book. Shit, I'm left with like 2,000.
Yeah.
Oh no, I left with 1,005.
Better just like say no more work. Tell the client, fine. Go and find someone else.
Yeah. Okay lah. I think the books will stick with you. Yeah.
I hope. I mean, right now this is a good problem to have. Right. I think for you, like, it's the same as what I see online now with a lot more things going on. Like you rather have this than like there's no business than
太苍蝇啊.
Exactly right. So I'm happy to have this issue, right? But there's also you need to know that like your time and your life is finite. Finite. Yeah. Correct. At some point you need to choose lah.
Yeah. Need to prioritize.
Correct.
Okay, so I think that sort of wraps up our episode. 所以我们今天的这个录制就到这里。喜欢我们的朋友们，记得点赞、订阅加分享。好，我们下一集再见，拜拜。
好，拜拜。
拜拜。
海风聊天吧，
聊时事、生活与文化，
天天为您带来好书、好文创和好心情。
下一回再见喽，拜拜。